You're listening to What the Folklore, making sense of senseless tales.
Happily ever after. Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, the princess, she walked happily home. Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, she lived happily ever after.
We're back. We're What the Folklore, and we're back again. We're recording this a day after last week's episode.
2 days running. Not for you.
For us. So, I drank a large QT coffee and a soda.
I can tell.
And I did that all, like, within an hour of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Did you do that right before I got home?
I got, like, halfway through the coffee.
Do you remember time?
I thought you were Tyler with chicken, which is why I was really excited.
Oh, because you just, like, ran over.
Yeah, because
it looked like you wanted something, but I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
With murder in your eyes.
I take after my cat in that effect.
Yeah, I wonder where she learned that from. From watching you. Yeah, anyway, we're What the Folklore. Did you introduce yourself?
Oh, I'm Carmen. I'm the reader.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Cordy.
We went from seeing each other not at all for over a week to having to stare at each other's faces for multiple hours in a row, 2 days running. It's
very long. It's very unpleasant.
We're sitting it.
Nobody likes it.
We need a good week in between where we mostly do our own thing in the same room, not looking at each other, in order to recover.
So
Is that not true?
What?
See?
What?
What?
What are you trying to do?
Why did you just stop talking?
Because I ended my sentence and I thought maybe one of you would converse with me.
No.
So we're here, as you've almost certainly guessed, to read a fairy tale, but not just any fairy tale, because we don't want to cover boring stuff that's already been done.
Disney.
Glass shoes? Get them out.
Even like the original Grimm version of the glass shoes. Everybody knows that one. If you like fairy tales, because you went and read it, and you thought like you were super edgy because you knew the truth.
Their feet get all gunked up.
You
Some
know
birds
the first
take some eyes out. Ooh.
You know the first 6 inches of the rabbit hole. We're gonna go all the way down, and we're gonna find a lesser known, much more bizarre story to read through, and then we're gonna discuss it and all of its many probably plot holes, and try to answer the questions. Why did anybody write this down, and why are we still talking about it?
So our favorite eel filled with sand sent us a giant box full of homework.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to sound insane if it's somebody's first episode.
Yep. I'm not going to bother to explain it.
Okay. Do some research. The breadcrumbs are there. Just follow.
And she starred some stories in a particular book called... I put this in a fancy reader holder thing.
You think you're better than us?
100 favorite folktale. What?
You think you're better than us?
With your fancy book holders?
You have a reader holder, whatever you said?
It's a book holder thing.
Is that where you
your
put the
God-given
words?
hands aren't good enough?
Not when I have to type notes while I'm reading a
hold
story.
Did you prop up a book?
Yeah.
Ew.
Why are you disgusted by that?
What kind of aristocrat are you?
Get a Kindle, you Luddite.
I got sick of typing one-handed while trying to wrestle a giant book of folklore open with the other hand. This helps it go
I have
faster.
all the words I need right here between my very 2 thumbs.
A cave person says what? That's where you say what. You did it wrong.
Alright, just for that, you get no choice today.
Okay.
I pulled one of the stories that Jenna, the eel filled with sand, starred in this 100 Favorite Folktales book by Stith Thompson. I just read his last name when we read the note, which probably was cut from that last episode. I didn't read it. Your hard work is for naught, Gordy. I thought Stith was... I was reading it wrong, but no, that's his name.
So like Sith, but with a T?
Yeah, so he's probably...
Curious.
Actually a Sith Lord, but trying to, like, sneak
Coincidence?
kind of like vampires write their names backwards.
Yes.
In order to escape detection.
Like Dr. Acula?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's how you can tell a vampire, for sure.
So we are going to France for this one. Home of our favorite author.
Madame Jessica P. Dolnois.
Marie Catherine did lots of other words, Dolnois.
Oh, is that her real name?
I think there's a Marie Catherine in there.
Marie Catherine Polyethylene Dolnois.
Close enough.
Sounds French.
This is not one of her tales. Yeah, it's Marie Catherine Le Jumelle de Barneville, Baroness Dolnois.
That's basically what I said.
Yes. This one is not hers, but it is a very old French legend originating from the village in the Pyrenees Mountains.
Yeah.
Some kind of village up there.
Yeah.
Orally told. Wikipedia's description of this story is a lot less insane than this book's version of it. And that's all you get. We're going in.
What is the title?
Oh, John the Bear.
How do you spell it?
John, John, as in your first name.
That's secret.
The,
Don't listen to that.
The bear.
Just bleep it.
I might.
Gordy, bleep every time we say John.
It depends how often you're gonna say it, because I see what you're trying to do. Is it better with all capitals on the last word? I think so. Here, hold on. I got a label maker for Christmas, which is the sound that you hear now, and it helps me. I like to take notes on it because it helps me remember stuff.
The notes will live on our coffee table forever.
And then I stick them on the coffee table, and I just wrote down John the Bear.
Verified.
Yep.
There we go.
We saw it with our own eyes. Now we do that cool audio thing where we make the listeners wait while Gordy takes the tape backing off of the label.
The cool audio thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant our transition music.
Oh, I guess we could do that
It's
here.
like, but is that like a cool audio thing?
It
We
should
could
go
make
around here.
Yeah,
Roughly around here.
you're not doing this label on the table very quickly, so
There we go.
Kirk
All right.
is upset because you're laying in a spot.
Let's do the story.
John the Bear. Once there was a woodcutter and his wife. One day, the wife was taking soup to her husband, presumably while he was woodcutting, and she got caught by a branch in the woods. Well, what? Problems already?
How are you that stupid?
You've never been caught by brambles or something?
She got
Not to the extent that I could not free myself.
I've never been debilitated by
Right, I would never use the word caught
Oh, have you ever been carrying a bowl of hot soup at the same time?
in the woods.
Yeah, she's carrying soup to her husband.
I carry soup everywhere. You know that.
Is it hot?
No, it's lukewarm.
Maybe this was
To be fair,
piping hot soup and she's trying to get away from the tree without spilling it on herself.
How fast was she going?
is this one of those Snow White trees that is evil
Probably.
and grabby?
Yeah, until you meet dwarves that tell you that the woods are fine. And then you're okay. While she was trying to free herself from this tree, a bear rushed up and carried her off to his den.
Mm-hmm. I have no problem with that.
No, I have no issue with that. I do
That's a day in the life.
think you should see the branch coming. If you're not running with a hot bowl of soup. Maybe it's in a thermos, so she can achieve higher land speeds.
Or maybe she's running with the hot bowl of soup because it's really hot and it's burning her fingers and she wants to put it
insane.
down.
Was she doing parkour through the trees to get home faster?
She's getting to the woods where her woodcutter husband is working.
Was she doing parkour through the trees to get to her husband faster?
Yes.
How low are the branches, is my question.
They're at all heights.
Why? What forest is this?
One that's real. Trees grow, like, regularly.
Nah.
And so
Not no more. Find me one.
the branches are not at equal heights.
Show me a branch near the ground.
Okay, go outside.
Damn it.
It's dark. You can't.
Well, good luck
evidence.
getting out of them then.
So a bear has this soup woman.
Yeah, Bear got the soup woman. Sometime afterward, the woman gave birth to a son. Because she was pregnant.
Beforehand?
BTW.
Or with a bear child?
Or with soup.
Doesn't say. Doesn't say, but the child is half bear and half human.
That answers the question.
I think that counts as saying.
Just
the truth was made known. If you had to ask.
That has the subtlety of a freight train.
Okay, so...
No way of knowing who the father is.
We are how many sentences into this story? 6?
Sentences,
were you counting?
Sentences, I don't know. Points on my notes, too.
We're already at bestiality.
Right. This child's name is called John the Bear.
Well, saw that one coming.
So the full bear, the kidnapping bear, took good care of the mother and child, bringing them apples and wild fruits every day and whatever other food he could find.
Here am fish.
Yeah.
This is raw fish. This is garbage I stole from a hiker.
This is the hiker.
I do think, just for my own knowledge, so I have some kind of visual to go along with this, what does a half bear look like?
Do you want the picture included on Wikipedia? Or you want
Is that more fun than wildly speculating?
I saw a sneak peek, and I think you should wildly speculate first.
Okay. I mean, is it like a centaur-bear? Like clean cut down the middle?
That would be preferable.
To what is pictured?
Yeah.
Or is it like the third image in an Animorph sequence?
Both. I would choose either of those.
Really?
Over what is happening.
Really? Is it like a full bear, but there is a very human face in the middle of it? Uh-oh, the computer is turning. Do I have time for one more guess?
You do?
Is it all bear, but only the legs are human? Okay, so my third guess was kind of right.
Pretty close.
It was kind of right there.
Yeah, the picture is... It kind of looks like a man wearing a teddy bear suit.
Yeah, it looks like a Lost Boy from Peter Pan.
Yeah, but worse.
It does, but one who has definitely done something illegal. And is very pleased about it.
When the bear child was 4 years old, his mother told him to lift the stone at the entrance to the cave where the bear kept him.
Free yourself, son.
Lift it?
Yeah, apparently the bear was keeping this mother and her child in the cave by trapping them with a stone. So it was very dedicated to having this lady and this half-bear child forever. But at 4 years old, he's not strong enough.
She's testing the water.
Yeah.
You good to skedaddle yet, kiddo?
She waits till he's 7 before trying again, and then gives him the incentive, saying, "The bear's not your father, so lift the stone so we can escape." And he did, and they ran away.
Was the inner strength he needed.
Yeah.
I guess.
He didn't want to leave Daddy.
He didn't want to?
Apparently, until he learned that Daddy was not his daddy.
Well, he could have also just not been very strong at age 4.
But Daddy is that bear is his dad.
Yeah, but she's not acknowledging him as his father.
Well, I think the bear is his father, whether or not she wants to acknowledge it.
If any of our listeners have read the very depressing book Room, because I don't think either of you would have.
I have not.
Is that...
It's also a depressing movie that I haven't watched. But yeah, any of you who have read Room or seen the movie, that's basically what this woman's life was with this bear.
Now this is not...
Is that about a lady and a kid stuck in a room together?
Yeah, kind of.
Now this is
different. I read the back cover of it once, and then I didn't read the book.
This must be a different thing than The Room.
Yes.
By the great Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, it's not that.
Or Wiseau, or however you say it.
So yeah, the beginning of this story is Room with a Bear. So just imagine all that horrible stuff happening, but the guy's a bear.
Remember that Invader Zim episode called Room with a Moose?
Uh-huh. Is that it?
That's it.
Okay.
Remember that one?
Yeah, yep. 7 years.
7 years.
Dad has moved on.
Well,
I'm gonna call it.
they make it to his house at midnight.
And he has a new family that's very happy.
And she knocks on the door and calls out, "It's your wife, open up." And he opens the door and is astonished to see her because he thought she was dead. And she just tells him, "I had a frightful adventure. I was carried off by a bear. Here's the child I had."
7 years ago.
It's this weird, creepy, Tobey Maguire looking mother back here.
So apparently this is all cool, and you don't meet lots of hot chicks in the woods, so he doesn't have another family.
Damn it.
But they do decide to send the boy to school,
Uh-huh.
where he is both very naughty and very strong.
He's a jerk to everyone. Also, he's unstoppable.
He hit one of his classmates so hard that all of his classmates were thrown to the other end of the bench.
So he's in like a Chinese wire fighting kung fu movie.
And then when the master of the school scolded him for decking half his class, he threw the master through the window.
It's either that, Gordy, or it's the beginning of Disney's Hercules.
I don't think Hercules ever intentionally threw someone through a window for telling him, bad boy, don't hit your classmates
Then it's
into
Matilda
the wall."
then, but with Stronk.
Stronk Matilda.
It's Muscle Matilda. It's Matilda if Matilda, like the characters of Matilda and Miss Trunchbull were reversed.
A
All
very
the way.
mean small woman.
A mean but very powerful small woman was held hostage by an extraordinarily intelligent headmistress. And she was kept down with the power of her mind.
So John the Bear is expelled from school. And is either 15 at the time that this happens, or
So he stuck around for a bit.
or we skip years. I'm not sure when turning 15 happened in relation to punching his classmates. But maybe the more people you punch, the faster you age. And his dad, the woodcutter, tells him it's about time he goes to serve his apprenticeship somewhere.
Not here, though.
So that was enough schooling for them?
Well, he was expelled, so there's not.
They're
not
going to have
options.
to take what they can get.
Sure. I guess so.
So he goes to a blacksmith, but he sucks at blacksmithing. And at the end of 3 days, he just asks for money and leaves.
So he robs them.
No, he asks for his pay for working for 3 days. So he takes his 3 days' pay and goes to another blacksmith. And he sticks with it for about 3 weeks and begins to learn something of the trade before he gets the idea that he could also leave here.
Yeah. You could, I guess.
One moment. One moment, please. I thought that was a pretty good idea. I'm going to write it down. It says reverse Matilda.
After he leaves the second blacksmith, he apprentices himself with the third blacksmith. And
He doesn't want to, diversify his portfolio.
No, it's just blacksmiths all the way down. And with this blacksmith, he actually becomes really skillful, and his master likes him a lot.
This blacksmith was just right.
Yeah. See what you did there?
Bears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for explaining to our slower
that is
listeners.
very astutely observed.
Bears are present.
There are bears, and those are both fairy tales. That was very good.
So one day, John the Bear asks the blacksmith if he can have some iron to forge a cane, and the master says, yeah, whatever, take whatever you find in the blacksmith shop. So John takes all of the iron in the shop, and he uses it to make a cane that weighs 500 pounds. And then he goes to the blacksmith and says he needs more iron for a ring for his cane.
He's going to marry it.
Yeah, sure.
He loves it so much.
Yep.
He's very proud of it.
And the master says, whatever, take the iron you can find in the house. But there's no more iron, so John the Bear says goodbye and takes his cane and leaves the blacksmith.
His 500-pound cane.
With no ring.
I did just find a whole wealth of symbols in this thing.
Oh dear.
There are Greek letters.
Got hashtags.
There's fractions. Somewhere there's a copyright. I should have put a copyright symbol next to all this stuff.
Do them over.
Oh, they got emoticons. They got pictures. Look at this. This is a little mailbox picture.
It's a treasure trove.
It is a treasure trove of iconography. You may continue.
Find a bear.
A bear?
Yeah.
I am in the animals section.
Download
There's
a bear.
an animal section.
I don't know that this is connected to the Google Play Store.
50 cents for bear emoji.
I don't see bear.
Find as close as you can.
Pig. How about this kind of squirrel? Is that good enough for you?
Is there a raptor?
No. There's this squirrel, but I don't know what it says. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So, on his journey, John the Bear meets John of the Mill.
What was his father?
Strong, because John of the Mill is playing a game of quoits, which is basically just horseshoes where you're throwing a ring at a stick, trying to get it around it, with a millstone.
Okay.
So strong.
Yeah, so John the Bear is watching him do this, and then he says, "Whoa, man, you're stronger than I am. Come with?" And John of the Mill is like, "Yeah, sure, bro."
They're beef buds.
Yep. And so they take their beefy arms on a journey. Further along, they meet up with a young man who's holding a mountain, and his name is Hold Up Mountain.
Yep. Good one. Who wrote this?
France.
French. The French.
The people
Explain
of the
this.
Pyrenees.
Explain yourselves.
John the Bear asks... I shortened his name to JTB when I was taking notes, and I keep wanting to say John the Baptist. John the Bear asks what Hold Up Mountain is doing, and Hold Up Mountain says he's holding up the mountain because it would crumble without him. And John the Bear says,
Come with me.
Let's see. And so, Hold Up Mountain lets go of the mountain, and the whole thing falls down.
Lo and behold, a civilization is destroyed.
Totally willing to risk it.
John the Bear is impressed by his strength and asks him to join the posse. So...
Are you just telling us Dragon Ball?
Yeah.
Secretly?
So, these three beefy men wander through the woods until they come across a young man twisting an oak tree around a bundle of wood to tie it together.
That seems counterintuitive.
What do you think his name is?
Twisty Rick.
Old
He's a young man.
Oakslinger. The Oakslinger.
His name is Oak Twister, so you're both kind of right.
With the power of two of us.
Twisty Rick the Oakslinger.
And they're just like, dude, come with us. And Oak Twister does. So, Beefy Man Squad walks for 2 days and 2 nights before they come across a beautiful castle in the middle of the woods. They walk
and they punch it to death.
They walk inside the castle, and they see in a room a table filled with all kinds of good food, and they eat very happily together. Then after eating, presumably immediately after eating, they draw lots to see who's going to stay behind and watch the castle while the rest of them go hunting.
Who wants to be king?
For a day. But 3 of them are going to go hunting, and 1 of them's going to stay behind and prepare the food. And ring a bell when dinner's ready. They just ate a sumptuous feast.
Well, they're planning ahead.
So, John of the Mill pulls the short straw first, and the others go off to hunt. And John of the Mill is about to pour the soup on the bread. So I guess this is how you finish prepping a meal. When suddenly a giant enters the castle.
Mm-hmm.
The giant asks him, "What are you doing here, boy?" And then knocks him down. And then leaves.
Okay. Almost got it right. You should wait for the answer to the question before you start shooting.
Probably.
And then he just leaves.
Yeah, he just leaves.
So it's not even...
He doesn't care.
It's probably not his castle, because he just walked into it, saw someone was in it, decked them, and then left.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
So, John of the Mill is really bruised and hurt and has no strength to ring the bell.
How will they know when food is ready?
Well, they get bored after a while and figure it's been a really long time since we started hunting, so we're going to go back and see what's up. They get there and ask him what happened, because he's laying in the middle of the floor covered
Bleeding to death.
in bruises. And he says, "Oh, I think it was just the smoke from the kitchen made me ill."
We've heard something like this before.
It's an excuse.
Haven't we?
Yeah, kind of.
Hunting brothers that didn't want to, seem like pussies to each other.
Yeah, we've heard it a couple times.
Oh, I don't quite remember that.
In at least 2 stories, we've heard this. John the Bear is suspicious of John of the Mill's smoke excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Not because John of the Mill is writhing in agony and covered in bruises in the middle of the floor, but just because smoke alone isn't enough to make someone ill.
Typically. Depends on how much, I guess. How far were they from the castle?
I don't know.
No one saw a giant. No one heard a giant. No one smelled a giant.
Yeah. No one tasted a giant.
Did not detect.
So the next day, Oak Twister goes through the exact same thing. And John the Bear is less suspicious of him, just kind of accepts that smoke made him sick this time, and only comments that tomorrow is his turn.
I will best that smoke.
So John the Bear's turn comes, the giant shows up, and before the giant can hit him, John the Bear splits him in 2 with his 500-pound cane.
Had to come in handy.
That is rough, though. That is not a cutting implement.
Yeah,
it's blunt.
He hit him very hard.
And split him in twain.
Yep, which presumably made a mess.
Probably.
That no one cleans up, because we never get that part.
Yes.
Ruined dinner. His friends come home, and John the Bear scolds them for hiding their adventure with this giant, because he might have been killed. But he forgives them pretty immediately.
You're still my bros.
So, now that he's murdered something, he decides he's going to look around the castle that they've been hanging out in for 3 days.
Mm-hmm. They're finally going to look in a different room.
Yeah. And as he's looking, I guess he's tapping his cane against the floor, and he realizes the castle sounds hollow.
Does it? Most of it is, I would think.
So he wants to know why, and eventually he comes across a giant hole in it.
I think by necessity, most of it is hollow.
In the floor, I think.
Uh-huh.
So
they explored what?
The castle.
That
all
they've
of
been
it?
staying in.
After this giant was captured?
Enough
Split in twain.
Enough of it to find a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
So they grab a rope.
And go to hell.
And with the help of the rope, they let John of the Mill down into the hole first. And he has with him a little bell, so that when he wants to be pulled back up, they'll know. When he gets halfway down, he hears some frightful howling, and he rings the bell because he's afraid he's going to die. Hold Up Mountain, who did not participate in the previous adventure.
Right.
Too cool.
Wants to get some.
And he goes down, and the exact same thing
happens. I will
happens.
face that howling thing.
Excuse me, can I get a hand on that ball?
And
put me in, coach.
Oak Twister also does the same thing.
They all wimp out.
So John the Bear brings his cane, I guess, instead of the bell.
Nobody borrows the cane ever?
No, it's his cane. It's
Nobody,
500 pounds.
It's very protective.
It sucks.
Nobody brings a gun?
Crossbow?
Down there?
Nope, just a little bell. So he takes his cane, and he gets all the way to the bottom without hearing any of the frightful howling that the others did. And at the bottom of
They smell his manliness.
the hole, it smells berryness.
His barreliness.
There's a fairy
Okay.
hanging out in this hole.
Uh-huh.
And the fairy comes up to John the Bear and says, "Hey, aren't you afraid of that giant?" And John the Bear's like, "Nah, bro, I killed him. I already cut him in half." And she says, "Nice."
Very good. I'm into it.
Awesome job. So, in this castle over here that you'll notice, this new one.
Over here, underground.
Yep.
Okay.
This castle other than the one that you were just in.
The first castle was a front for this much cooler underground castle.
There are 2 rooms that have devils in them.
Out of how many?
Enough.
What is the ratio?
Of
What
room to devil.
what are the odds? So we can make like a whole like table of possibilities. We can calculate the odds.
I at least 3. In one of the rooms, there are 11 devils.
So okay, so
You
there,
buried the lead.
So there are X number of rooms, but 3 of the rooms contain devil, 11 devils.
No. One of the 2 rooms with
Oh.
devils in it has 11.
And one of them has 1.
One of the other of the 2 rooms has 12 devils in it.
Were there 1 through 10?
No,
Okay.
devils can only party in dozens or less.
Bakers
Why did
in a dozen or a stingy baker's dozen.
Why do these devils not value personal space?
Maybe they're big rooms.
Why are they all in those rooms?
Maybe it's a whole castle divided in only 3 rooms. Because in the 3rd room are 3 princesses who are sisters.
It's like
Guarded by...
Wait, what?
In the 3rd room, there are 3 princesses who are sisters.
This is a weird game show. This
is from Japan.
This is like that classic game theory question, the Monty Hall problem. Do you want to change your answer? One of them has 11 devils in it. Monty opens a door. There are 12 devils. So, okay. Are there 3 rooms then?
There are at least 3 rooms. There are 3 rooms that matter. So John the Bear enters this whole other castle inside the first castle.
Mm-hmm.
This castle is much more beautiful than the above ground one. And it's full of like all kinds of treasures and shit.
Aside from him, he has 3 friends.
Yeah, they're up there, cowering with a
Which
rope.
one of his friends is he going to murder?
Because there are 4 of them and there are 3 women.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All 3 of them. That is his new harem.
They are dead weight.
With 23 devils to guard them.
He reached one of the mentioned rooms and hits the door with his cane a few times, 2 or 3, before it flies into 1,000 pieces. Then he hits all the devils in the room with the cane and kills them.
Okay.
Not like a great puzzle then. Maybe he's just gonna brute force it.
It's not much of a game.
And then the second door is a little tougher, but he keeps hitting it until it also breaks.
Surprise, devils.
There's not much of a point in finding like a pure strategy Nash equilibrium on this one. What's the right answer? You're gonna beat down all the doors. Take what's yours.
In that room, he kills 11 devils, and one of the devils begs for mercy and pleads to be allowed to live.
Mm-hmm.
And John the Bear says, "No, you're gonna die like the rest."
Absolutely not.
And then he hits that one too.
I killed 22 devils. Do you think I'm in the mood for conversation?
You think I'm gonna stop now?
I'm all out of bubblegum, motherfucker.
And he goes to the princess room. And the youngest princess, who was also the most beautiful, gives him a little ball that was ornamented with pearls, diamonds, and emeralds. He takes the ball, and then he takes her to the place from which he had descended, and he gives the signal for them to pull up the rope and had them draw up the princess. And then John of the Mill takes her away. My
jerk.
So he goes back to the princess room. The second princess gives him the exact same gift. He does the same thing. Hold Up Mountain takes her for himself. Goes back to the princess room. Same thing. And Oak Twister takes that one. And then he wants to go up, but his companions cut the rope when he's halfway up there.
What happened to bros before hoes? That code was not followed at all.
They did not take that oath when they joined up with this half-bear-man.
That was his mistake. You gotta get that in blood.
Yeah.
Whenever you start a beef squad.
You have to have that. You gotta get a public notary to seal it.
So he falls to the bottom of the hole and he breaks his leg. Luckily, however, he had some ointment with him, which the fairy had given to him at some point.
Is the fairy gone now?
It's not there now.
Is the fairy up for marriage?
She palmed it to him, I guess. So he,
On his way to devil murder?
yeah. So he put that on his leg and cured it instantly.
Mm-hmm. Did he use all of it?
Yeah.
So that was a one-time deal.
Yeah.
Well, he's not going to starve anytime soon because he has 23 devils to eat.
So
But he killed them all immediately. They're gonna spoil.
Do devils spoil?
I would imagine so. They're warmer than normal meat.
Probably.
Just inherently.
they're like their own microwave. So he sits there wondering what to do, and then the fairy shows up again and points out a path for him to take to the castle above.
Hey, listen.
Some J.K. Rowling writing.
This way, idiot.
But she tells him, don't look behind you at the little light that's going to be following you out, or the light will go out and you won't be able to see your way.
Well, that's annoying.
Yep. But he follows her directions exactly and gets to the top.
Okay, so it didn't matter.
Yep. And there he finds his comrades. And he shouts at them to go away, or he'll kill him like he did the giant because he's the master here. And then he chases them off. And they leave the princesses behind who want to take John the Bear to their dad, the king. And he says, maybe later I'll show up at your place. I don't know. And he pockets the balls they gave him.
He's a regular...
Flips the collar on his leather jacket up.
He's a regular James Dean.
And,
Puts a cigarette out on each of them. Before he leaves.
Just to mark them.
And then they wander back home where they immediately forget about him.
What an adventure. How did we get away from those 23 devils again? Who can say? It's all in the past.
So John the Bear begins his travels again, and he happens into the country belonging to the princesses. And while he's there, he becomes a workman in the blacksmith shop. And because he's so skilled as a blacksmith, he makes the shop very well known. So one day, the king...
Does no one ever comment on how he's a bear?
No one seems to notice.
They don't seem to care very much.
A bear just
Also,
wanders into these blacksmith shops and says, "Can I work here?"
It really seemed like we were approaching a conclusion there.
Not quite. We're close.
All right.
So one day, the king calls to the blacksmith and orders from him 3 small balls in exchange
The things that he has.
for 1 million francs. The king wants balls fashioned after something that the story does not describe to us, and he'll furnish him with all the stuff he needs and pay him 1 million francs for balls forged by a blacksmith.
Well,
Just like-
forged by his blacksmith.
Yeah.
Just like metal balls.
I don't know. But if he doesn't make these 3 balls by the deadline, he'll be killed.
It's a standard contract of employment.
With the king, yeah.
It's a weird business model, though.
Not
Like,
for the king.
I will make you fabulously rich, or I will kill you.
Yeah. It's another game show. That's how kings operate. So the blacksmith goes home and he tells John the Bear about this new contract with the king, and John the Bear says, I'll take care of it. But John the Bear doesn't bother with it for a while. And one day at dinner, the blacksmith is expressing his concern.
Please, I will be killed.
That the balls are not going to be done in time, and John the Bear tells him to just go to the cellar and get another jug of wine. And while the blacksmith is in the cellar, John the Bear goes into the blacksmith shop and hits the anvil a few times, and then takes the balls out of his pocket and pretends that he forged them.
Yeah, of course.
And he gives them to the blacksmith, who takes them to the king. And the king loves them and says they're more beautiful than he had envisioned.
I feel as though I may have seen them before.
And he takes them to his daughters to show them off.
And they recognize them.
Not to give them to his daughters. Just to be like, look at
Check
this.
it! Yo!
Scope this out.
Check these sweet balls. Your dad's got 3 balls.
You wanna know how much I spent on this shit?
1,000,000 francs. So...
We don't even need these.
They're just balls. So the daughters recognize the balls, and they tell their dad about the bear dude who saved their life. And so the king sends some guards to find John the Bear, and John the Bear did not want to be bothered.
So don't bother him.
So the king sends other guards to inform John the Bear.
More or just different?
I think different.
You try.
And
These are my charismatic guards.
The other guards tell him that if he does not come, he'll die. So John the Bear makes his decision to not die and goes to the king. And the king salutes him, compliments him, and thanks him.
This king... This king operates on a strong binary.
Do what I want or death.
Right.
Really awesome outcome or death. And then he...
Go ahead.
Then he tells him to pick one of his daughters. Take one. It's yours.
These are all mine. Pick one. Anyone?
Pick one or I'll kill you.
John the Bear picked the youngest / most beautiful one, and their marriage was celebrated 3 months later.
How does she feel about...
Does not matter.
Okay. A bear husband.
Nobody asked her.
Okay.
And...
He did save her life, though.
Yeah. And that...
There were a lot of devils.
That would be the end of the story.
Uh-huh.
But postscript, as to the companions of John the Bear, they were burned in a great fire.
What?
The end.
It's a cheerful parting note.
So, questions, comments, label maker additions?
Concerns?
Deep concerns?
Concerns.
Let's do it. Let's discuss.
He didn't need to be a bear, right?
No.
Certainly not.
He could have just been a strong man.
Yeah. But we had to get that bear loving part in.
The hot woman on bear action.
Yep.
That was the blurb on the front of this fairy tale.
So you'd expect him being a bear would affect something.
I mean, he's very strong.
Yeah.
Like a bear.
I guess I appreciate that they tried to give an explanation for why he was so strong. It's like a very early draft of a superhero.
It didn't come with any kryptonite weaknesses. Like, you're a bear. I don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah. It's like, what if Spider-Man? He's half spider, right?
Sure.
Just keep spitballing. Keep going, Stan Lee. And then he created Peter Parker the Spider-Man, who was bitten by a spider. And he's very sick.
So sick.
I think that's
not much time to live.
I think that's how that movie went.
I think you're mistaking that with the movie being very sick.
Well, yeah, he doesn't have to be a bear, but he is, I guess. Kind of.
And that has no consequences.
Don't talk about how creepy he looks.
No one fails to hire him or give him things.
Why? Why does this giant live in this castle?
It doesn't.
It just comes and
It
punches
does drive-bys.
Oh, it just comes there to hang out?
No, it comes to punch whoever's in it and then leaves.
Is that really it?
Daily.
Oh,
Maybe it did.
Okay.
Maybe it did live in the castle, and then it got a fairy infestation.
Of one?
Yeah, well, that's enough, because fairies hate giants and are looking for their death.
Yeah. It is it's a fairy bird war.
Right, but the giants are kind of collateral in it.
Right. But if not the giant, then who lives there?
23 devils.
No, that's in the underground castle underneath the front castle.
And what?
The subterranean castle.
And why are they keeping 3 presumably human women
from, like, the town over?
Yeah. Like, they're with nobody to care for them.
Why is no one else trying to get into that castle? Does no one know where they went?
Well, it's underground.
Right, but...
And the
and
path
it's very
to get,
scary.
It is very scary to get to.
The path to
I have
get
a theory about that.
out of it was not immediately evident until pointed out by a magical fairy person.
Rope.
Well, until cut.
But
there was like a walking path out of it.
I mean, like, that king's royal guard, who I think he would send out to look for his 3 missing daughters,
If he
who were
noticed.
taken by devils.
He likes his trinkets.
They had the baubles. He would doubly send them. Please get me my baubles back.
He was
with or without bodies attached to them.
He was willing to pay 1 million francs just to replace
to
the
get
baubles.
replicas.
No, not even the daughters.
Yeah.
Just the baubles.
And it's not even clear if he's trying to replace those baubles, because when he gets them, they're prettier than he thought they would be.
And he doesn't do anything with them. He just kind of goes like, "Hey, check this out."
Yo!
Well, that's typical king fashion.
I'm gonna put these on a pillow!
You got a goat with bells on its horns, I want it. You got a cool coat that glows, want it.
Well, let's say it is the giant then, because we don't have anything else that it could be, right? Like, giant is the best guess.
Owning the upper castle?
Yeah.
Giant who's staying away because he knows that something's going to kill him because there's a fairy in there now.
We have, like, I don't know if you guys want to get into the story, but I have theories that tie into it.
I kind of did too, and so I would be happy to discuss.
It's hard to ignore because there is a fairy and a giant present.
And
Right.
the underground hell place.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Well, sure. Shoot it out.
We have briefly discussed in the past that perhaps giants are being manipulated by fairies.
Yeah.
Or they were cursed by them in the past.
Yeah.
Yes,
Is the fairy keeping those women down there?
possibly.
And the giant is part of the, like...
He's the front?
Is the sorcerer's stone defense. That's the 3-headed dog at the top.
I guess maybe.
Could be.
Because the howling happened for all 3 of those men who tried to go down, and they got spooked.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The howling did not happen when a man bear who was carrying a very large slab of iron was climbing down.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
That would make a fairy very worried, I would think.
Yes,
And likely to aid him rather than stand in his way.
that's true.
So what do you think was howling then?
I think the fairy was.
Okay.
And decided to not pull that shit when this very scary man with this very scary iron was coming towards it.
Oh, yeah. He had the iron with him, so...
Okay, so there are a couple of things that we've encountered that kind of tie into this moment down here.
Right.
And a lot of this moment doesn't matter.
Yes.
So it's...
Sure.
Yup.
I think there's a detail that was put in there.
We have a desperate
No
need
reason.
for meaning, and we're gonna fill it however we can.
Okay, so... 1. Underground unseelie court. Now, the underground seems to have some mobility. Like, where you are in it seems to be able to move.
Right.
You can access it from different
There's
places.
another sky down there sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's basically a whole subterranean world. And there's a castle in this one, and it's a pretty castle, which means he can see it.
Yeah.
So there's probably a sky involved in this.
Light source of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So basically the Unseelie Court opened a portal into this giant's castle to fuck with a giant.
Kind of took him, not hostage, but under their control to some extent.
Right. And if he dies, then there's one less giant in the world. We had talked a little bit outside of the recording about the interesting relationship to hell that both fairies and giants have.
That's where taxes happen.
Yes.
For both.
Fairies pay taxes to hell.
Giants get taxes.
Giants collect
Giants get their returns.
taxes from hell.
Mm-hmm.
And devils seem to be like the the IRS. So the fairy here has the means to dispose of both the big bad government taking her money and the government organization responsible for funneling it from their court to the giants. We have no idea how this arrangement came to be.
Wait, say that again?
They're devils down there,
Right.
which she arranges to have killed.
Yes, I think she goes into that knowing full well that he will not avoid those rings and will in fact kill every single one of those devils.
The fairy?
Yeah.
So she's just ordered a hit on a branch of the IRS and one of the giants who collects the taxes that fairies pay to hell.
I was just suspicious the way that she mentioned the giant. Because the giant isn't there all the time. The giant's only there occasionally and then leaves again. But she says, "Oh, aren't you scared of that giant up there?" Like she expected it to be there and was trying to find out what happened to it.
So suspicious in that she's clearly angling for information on its well-being.
Yeah.
And she's very pleased when he's dead.
Yeah. Well,
so I think we've got...
Who wouldn't be?
We've got confirmation of that running theory. There is another point that shows up in the story and has no impact on the story, but it's an interesting detail.
Which is?
A light follows him out, and he's not allowed to turn back and look at it.
Yeah, that was weird.
So
follows him out of what?
Out of the underground.
Uh-huh.
Out of the underground kingdom, he takes a path to the above-ground castle. It's specifically mentioned as the castle above ground.
Right. Where the rope was cut from.
Mm-hmm. This path wasn't there before, because he's not an idiot.
I don't know how observant he is either, though.
I mean, he's made his way.
A lot of it has been brute force.
Right, but I think he would have at some point noticed a path that is clearly there.
Probably.
In front of him. So, like, they can make paths come and go as they please in the Unseelie Court. We've seen them open portals and close portals to hell and like change the landscape before. Does this instant of a light following you out of an underground kingdom that you're not allowed to look at remind you of anything?
Orpheus?
Yep.
Reverse heaven.
Oh.
It's his wife.
Basically any moment in the Greek underworld when you have to take a soul out, you're not allowed to look behind you, or that soul gets sucked back in. She just smuggled someone out of Hades.
You think?
I think so.
And put a hit on the people who took her there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bold move.
Because there's some connection between the Greek underworld and the Unseelie Court, because we've seen a fairy who is a particular friend with Persephone.
Right.
Yeah.
So they are at least adjacent underground kingdoms.
Yeah.
So this might be the border of like hell and the underground
this
fairyland.
deal went down in no man's land.
Right. And so she snuck someone out.
Who and to what end is your theory?
I don't have a theory to that yet.
Who got out?
Yeah, what spirit did she let loose?
Something to watch for.
Because he does what he's told. He doesn't look back. And that thing has no impact on his journey.
Right.
I was going to comment on how unfortunate that was. And how frequently we hear authors, like, threaten something interesting happening, and then it not happening.
I mean, this story was definitely a lot of triggers not pulled over and over again.
Right.
But I thought that was the most obvious and interesting unpulled trigger.
There were a lot of domino stacks that were just kind of wobbling.
Yeah, that's true. But that's why we jump to conclusions.
That is our job here.
That's why we make connections that don't exist. Like conspiracy theories. This is definitely how they start.
Do you think he was actually part bear?
He's very clearly a bear.
Is he?
Yeah.
I mean, the story initially describes him as such, but does not follow through. Like, the woodcutter's not horrified by him.
Based on that image.
Well, the Wikipedia image illustrating a character named John the Bear.
It's an artist rendition.
Yeah. Let's remove that.
Sure, why not?
We don't get any physical description of him.
We do not.
Ever.
Does it matter?
We get a half bear, half man description from when he is still trapped by a bear with his mom, who might be going crazy.
She has that baby very fast, though.
I don't think we're given a timeline for that.
Well, we know that at least 7 years pass afterwards.
Right.
What are you going for? I'm going to take the bear thing at face value. Unless you have something otherwise.
Yeah, it's sometime afterward. So, it could be 9 months after a bear banged this lady. The bear is not acting very bear-like.
You're saying... Alright. You're going off the deep end for real this time.
Yes. We have
The bear was an inside job?
Yes. We have seen people transformed by fairies into animals.
Yeah.
They just like go and live in the woods, doing their animal thing.
Yeah.
This bear is super into human ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Kidnaps one, does not eat her, does not maul her, keeps her trapped in a cave with a rock covering the entrance, which is a very unbear-like thing to do.
I don't know. That's bear-like. How many bears have you met?
Enough. How many
They live in caves.
Nat Geo documentaries have you watched?
How many Nat Geo documentaries about kidnappings have you watched?
None, because it's not a thing bears do. They get salmon, and they sleep.
They kidnap salmon into their bellies.
But he, like, takes tender care of this woman and this child as a bear
Okay.
who's kidnapped them.
Yep.
I don't think he's a bear.
Clearly you don't.
So I don't know that this kid's actually a bear.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
Either way.
Well, I'm just saying...
I need
like,
you to get to the point.
Bear or not, I don't know what
a fairies,
bearing it has on the story.
What if fairies set up this kid's birth?
Barely any.
What if fairies set up this kid's birth?
To do exactly this?
Yes, to get a soul out of hell.
I think they have better means.
Alright, well, that's just a wild theory.
Yes, it's...
I think that's too much trouble to go through.
It's also a fallback that we've been using a lot. Is that every event is predestined by fairies that we've come across.
Fine, so fairies just, like, take advantage of this guy's life and his...
Yeah.
They seem more opportunistic than, like...
long conners.
Or strategists.
Mm-hmm.
They don't seem overly intelligent to me.
Alright, so in the end, this guy's life does not matter too much, but was briefly hijacked by fairies.
He served a purpose.
So now there's a soul freed from hell somewhere.
And it's our job to speculate as to who that could be.
And maybe we'll see a bear king in the future. Or like a half bear king. Or like a really hairy king.
And
a king with bear-like qualities.
We'll certainly keep an eye out for that in later episodes.
You sound annoyed.
Was that not what we're going to do?
I mean, yeah, but you just sound annoyed about it.
No. That's what we're going to do.
I think he's trying to draw close.
And later episodes, not this one. We're like right in the sweet spot, where if we end, it'll be about an hour.
Any other concerns that popped up from the story?
Well, I mean, yes, but they're not going to get solved.
Do you think holds up?
Oops. Genuinely don't know what's printing here. Oh, nothing. Okay.
Do you think Holds Up Mountains was named that before or after he decided to hold a mountain up?
That's a chicken or an egg.
Yeah.
Like when you have a character who's explicitly named an action that they take in the story.
He got to keep the name after he didn't do it anymore.
Right. So was that his...
Which seems illegal to me.
Was that his legal birth name then? Like his parents had him and they're like, this one will be Holds Up Mountains. We already have a Tracy and a Jack.
Their aspirations for their third and final son. Is to hold aloft a mountain.
Yeah.
Why?
Their fourth son
I don't know.
named greatest shortstop in the world. Starting pitcher for the New York Mets.
So is your kid going to be Sweet Dunks?
My kid?
Yeah. You name your third son Sweet Dunks?
No, I want to do it. I don't want my kid to do it.
You're going to get your name legally changed to Sweet Dunks?
Your son will be called No Dunks. So there's no chance of it.
No Dunks Murphy.
My son will be called My Record -1. It'll be good, but not that good.
This is my son. Makes me look better.
I don't remember what you asked.
Me neither. Something about names.
Loose ends.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Sure don't. Sounds good to me.
What? I don't think that was an answer to any question I would have asked.
You said loose ends. Are there any? Not anymore.
Sounds good to me.
Not anymore.
I guess we've lost Gordy.
Well, you see the process at work. We started with a mess of a story. Now we filled in all the holes. Makes sense.
We filled in one hole.
It's the big one, though.
Okay. That's enough work for one night. We've seen too much of each other's faces.
Put a bullet in it.
Take a week break. Back to folklore next week.
Yep. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thanks to Jenna for the story.
Thank you, Jenna.
Thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you, Doug. Look for the links in the show description. Goes everywhere you need to go.
Follow the path. Don't look behind you. We want the folklore. That's how it works.
Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, hi-di-hi-di-hi-di-ho, tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, happily ever after. Tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, hi-di-hi-di-hi-di-ho, tra-la-di-di-hi-di-ho, she lived happily ever after.
This has been What the Folklore. Thanks for listening to our show. If you have any feedback for us, you can leave it either by Gmail or Facebook. Our Gmail account is wtfolklore@gmail.com, and our Facebook page can be found at facebook.com/WTfolklore. Feel free to send in stories if you have any particularly odd pieces of folklore or mythology that you would like to hear us talk about. Special thanks to the Brobdingnagian Bards for the use of their song Happily Ever After from their album Brobdingnagian Fairy Tales.